Hi, I'm Rachel Doueck with ForceBrands, and today we're here to talk about designing leadership for what's next and our State of the Industry report. For a little background on ForceBrands, we are the premier talent partner within consumer. We were founded by a former operator in the spirits industry. And the reason for him starting the business is because he was motivated by connecting consumer brand leaders and founders and investors. So here we are today offering solutions that are talent acquisition as well as talent strategy. So focusing on all brands within consumer, highlighting the fact that we started and our bread and butter really is in beverage alcohol. So we like to consider ourselves a true partner in every sense with the talent acquisition and talent strategy offerings that we have. A little background on me. I'm a senior director of client strategy. And I started my career in hospitality, specifically in mixology. So I always had a passion for wines and spirits and all the beverages out there. And since I started 15 years ago, the industry has changed a lot. And my role is on the client partnership side. So I work across a lot of our partners on organizational design, talent acquisition, and talent strategy. So today, I want to share a little bit about the state of the industry as it relates to talent. Earlier this year, we put together a survey, surveying companies spanning from around 25 million to 500 million in revenue, really across all of consumer. And our goal in doing this was to just understand how founders and CEOs and executive teams where we're feeling about their business as it relates to talent. So we're not talking today about categories or industry trends. We're talking about how founders are feeling about how they're building their businesses. So the industry inflection point is a people strategy, right? Again, going back to the reason why we started ForceBrands is to really help build the brands by identifying the right talent to do so. So the next stage of growth rarely comes from doing more of the same. It comes from designing the team that can take you there. How leadership roles are evolving. In our survey, what we found is that only 13% of companies have succession plans for their top 3 strategic roles. We all know how competitive the landscape and the market is right now for talent, right? You can lose your talent, whether it's a CMO or a CEO at any moment for another opportunity. So I always like to advise just considering that succession plan, especially for your top 3 roles or your top roles within your business, are really important. So that 13% is a very, very low number. And fewer than 40% of founders believe they're the right person to lead the next stage of growth. So really interesting stats that we found there. And it was really all kind of things that we've been thinking about, but only until recently did we hear from the leadership and founders kind of agreeing to what our thoughts were. Leadership transitions are evolutions and not endings. So the founder to CEO transitions are becoming very, very common. And what that means is as a founder, you build a business, you build your baby, you're really passionate about it. And going back to that one stat, founders aren't always going to be the right person to be CEO always and forever, right? There comes a time where your skills may or may not be within that operator mentality. So, in order to grow a brand and grow the business, I think it's something that you should constantly be thinking about. 52% of companies reassigned or exited high tenure leaders last year. That was a really, really big trend that we were seeing. A lot of transitions at the leadership level for many different reasons. I think again, going back to ensuring that you are having that succession plan doesn't mean that you're out there interviewing and trying to find that leader to replace whoever it is that you have in that role, but it's just something to continue to think about, and checking in on, on your teams to make sure that, they're happy, and they're not looking to transition out, but having that transparency. You'll find that some leaders will tell you, hey, listen, I don't see myself, in this role for, the next year. That's obviously a good indicator that you should potentially start looking for someone to replace that leader. 41% of leaders who delayed transition said it directly stalled milestones like capital raises or launches. So imagine losing, your CSO or your head of sales as you're raising capital or as you're launching into 5 different markets, right? That really is stalling the business. Intentional transitions turn to disruption. They're a growth lever, not a loss of identity. So intentional transitions, meaning as founder, are you evaluating your leadership teams? Do they have the right skills to get you from X to Y? Are they digitally savvy, as an example, but aren't that commercially driven marketing leader that you need? It's not wrong to think about what year 2 looks like, what year 3 looks like. So identifying those intentional transitions early on is very, very important. 62% of C-suite leaders have no backfill or succession plan for their own role. Your leadership team, or if you are a C-suite executive and you think about, your future and the business that you're running right now, who will be your backfill? Is the team that you currently have in place, is there someone there that you can grow into and mentor into a larger role to continue the kind of transition and evolution of the company? Maybe. But again, succession planning and just really being strategic about what the future of the business looks like is really, really critical. Redesigning roles with a future back lens aligns structure, vision, and execution. Founder transitions, when intentional, are among the most strategic levers for growth. So the question you should always be asking yourself is, are you built for now, or are you built for the future and what's next?
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep up with the latest beverage alcohol industry insights from Park Street University.